Hello, everyone. My name is Yashis from Team 18221 Meta Infinity in Trumbull, Connecticut, and welcome back to today's episode of MetaCast. Today, we are joined by a member of Team 21235, Shark, Aarush. We are going to be going over
Hello.
an introduction to computer-aided design for teams in the FTC competition. Aarush, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm Aarush.
All right, so let's get straight into it with some questions on CAD design for the FTC competition. So, just to start off, what is CAD?
So I guess the best explanation of CAD is simply stands for computer aided design. Okay, so now that's just a bunch of jargon. So you might be wondering like what exactly is computer aided design? And so what CAD enables you to do is it enables you to model what you're trying to create. In this case, it's a robot. Okay, and it enables you model that robot on your computer and visualize what you're trying to create into the specific specifications that you want to create it to. So it's really useful because it's a necessity when creating complex parts and especially custom parts that you later want to be 3D printed or CNC'd. CAD is almost often a necessity and necessary for you to get your design goals from those processes. And so it's just a way of basically just modeling your robot in the like a 3D world before you go ahead and like order parts and build it.
Yeah, definitely. CAD is really important for teams in FTC. Next up, what are the different CAD softwares that people use in FTC? What are the differences, and which one do you think is the best?
Yeah. So I think within FTC, there's like a multitude of different CAD softwares used. So I know that many teams, I guess the most popular ones that I've seen around that people use are usually Onshape, Fusion 360, and SolidWorks. So I've used all three of them. I originally started off with Inventor, SolidWorks, sorry, not SolidWorks, Autodesk Inventor, and then transitioned to using Fusion for about 2-3 years. And for the past 2-ish years, I've been using Onshape. So, between the three different CAD softwares, I'd say this is a bit of, I guess, I don't know if it's a hot take, but most CAD, 99% of the CAD softwares that most teams use are going to function nearly identically. And I'd recommend just playing around with different types of CAD software and seeing which runs on your computer the best, which just doesn't break the least, and which just works with your team's workflow. So, me personally, I prefer Onshape because it has things like parts libraries. This is a constantly updated, running parts library that's well maintained. Okay, I rarely ever have to download parts from a Rev's website or like GoBuilder's website, even though they're constantly releasing new products. It's almost like instantly uploaded to the parts library and saves me a lot of time. It has great collaboration and it's also cloud based. So what that means is Onshape can often even run on things like your phone or your Chromebook, your school Chromebook if you have one of those. And that makes it really nice for teams that just, that don't have the ability to have, a giant powerful workstation. And Onshape really the only time it really uses your computer's hardware is it uses your GPU for rendering the actual model. All the calculations done on to model a CAD itself are done in Onshape servers, and then it works really nicely, has clean version control, and I really just enjoy the UI. That being said, another great option is Fusion, and Fusion is very similar to Onshape, but I think one of the most unique aspects of Fusion is it does not have different part studios and assemblies. So nearly almost all CAD softwares have part studios or separate parts tabs where you can generate and design your parts and then separate assemblies where you then put these parts together to form your final robot. So Fusion works in a very unique way where it integrates those two into one singular tab, allowing for a variety of different things that can unique things to take place. I think a great option, a reason to use Fusion is that it does have integrated CAM or computer aided manufacturing, which is what's used to allow you to CNC mill custom parts. And if you really just want to go for that integration, it's a solid CAD software. That being said, one of my pet peeves with Fusion, my past with working with it, is that it does take a lot on your device. Whatever hardware you're running, it's going to require a lot of RAM, and you can often utilize your CPU a lot. It's just, to me, in my past experience, it's just very unstable and sometimes might break. Though that just varies by that's the case by varies by case basis. And then I've used SolidWorks a little bit, and SolidWorks is nice because it is more used in the industry. So if you're planning to pursue a career in engineering, you're very likely to use SolidWorks in like a future job, and it's very well maintained and works well in maintaining complex and larger assemblies. And one final note I'd like to say is that all of these CAD softwares are free as an education user and have work just relatively the same.
Yeah, 100%. Next up, what do you think is the best use for CAD in First Tech Challenge? What do you think it should be used for the most? Where do you think it kind of lacks? And yeah,
Mhm. So I think CAD's just often used to, I mean, I think as I said before, to like model your robot. It allows for teams that don't really have the money to like or the time to spend lots of time prototyping multiple designs, like building out and prototyping lots of robots. It's really nice that you can often prototype different assemblies or even whole robots within CAD. I know Gator Bites, the team that won Worlds last year, had whole robot designs that they built out in CAD, but deemed that they're just not worth it to build it out. And it just helps prototype things faster as you're able to model things within the software that you might, even if you don't have the parts, and then evaluate if you want to pursue that sort of design. And it's really just like helpful for just like communicating across with your team members how you want the robot to look like, how different parts are going to mesh. And like with compared to things like free building, it leads to I guess less jankier connections between your different sub assemblies, as you know you can seamlessly integrate your intake and transfer. While with something that's more free built, that might take some more experience to and more time to put together, as you don't know exactly how different things are going to pan out. And CAD just helps you visualize that within the CAD software that you're using. And this can allow, and it also allows you to, of course, get custom parts. So if you're trying to, have a 3D printed claw, that's just not possible without a CAD software and without modeling that in your CAD. Or if you want, if you're a team that uses CNC plates, or you wanted a custom chassis, custom parallel plate chassis, CAD is just a necessity for creating custom parts.
yeah. Next up, why do you think Onshape is the best CAD software for FTC?
Okay, so I think Onshape is I personally believe that Onshape uh is the best CAD software for a multitude of reasons, and it's just because it just works the best and it breaks the less. To me, I think you should determine what CAD software you want to work on purely based on what software is just going to like break the least. So in my experience, just like a lot of times CAD can be very finicky and things can just like, just like not work for no unexplained reason. And that's something you just have to deal with. So for my experience, Onshape just is very reliable. It's getting constantly new updates. So like they're on like, they've had hundreds of updates in the past few years, and it has lots of like unique features such as replicate, which allows you to rapidly put screws on your design to make sure that everything's flush and everything's, for that crystal clean render. And it's got things like vent and different like feature scripts, these customs feature scripts that are created by the community that allow you to say pocket your custom plates much more rapidly than having to manually do so in a software such as Fusion. And so just that coupled with how easily you can integrate other people and it's like tools for collaboration, I think it's just the best package for a CAD software.
Yeah. Next up, what type of parts do you think teams make in CAD in their CAD softwares?
Yeah, so I think, well, most teams, of course, are going to deal with at least some degree of working with commercial off the shelf parts. So these are just parts that you buy from Go Build, that you buy from Amazon, that you buy from Rev. But CAD specifically can allow you to create more custom parts. So if you're trying to, CNC or laser cut a piece of aluminum that you want to get cut from like a service such as, Senkatsen, Xometry, FabWorks, all of this requires CAD and is like what teams generally, use CAD for. There's also that aspect of being able to 3D print very complex geometries that have organic looking designs to themselves and elements to that. I think that's just what teams generate.
Yeah. And then finally, do you have any final thoughts related to CAD design for FTC teams?
Um, this just if you are currently not using CAD, I would, recommend just trying out a CAD software like Onshape. And if that's not what you want to do, experiment with other different CAD softwares. I personally think that they're very easy to pick up. Once you know one, you can very easily learn the rest. Okay, they're all very similar to each other. It just helps you. It opens up a new whole world of possibilities for how your robot can look when you're able to use custom parts and it's like much nicer than being limited to just having to free build your bot.
Yeah. Um, well, thank you so much, Arush, for joining us today. I hope you and Shark have a great season.
You too.
And then thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Metacast. And I hope you all have a great day. Tune into more next week.